There's a joke amongst Americans that everything we type in a text message or say on a phone call is being recorded and stored somewhere in a massive NSA data center in the middle of the Nevada desert. That's been the joke since Edward Snowden blew the whistle on the NSA and their warrantless surveillance of law-abiding American citizens. Of course, nothing ever happened to the NSA. It's still around, collecting our data, logging our conversations. Enter encryption. End-to-end encryption offers the promise of true security and privacy. Even if the hosting companies want to turn over or collect your data, they can't, in theory, because it's encrypted. This is excellent for consumers who can now communicate without fear of being spied on or censored, and companies like it too because it takes the impetus off of them to comply with subpoenas and court orders. But let's be honest, did you really think the US government, or those with real power in this country, would allow us, the Americans they see as a problem to be managed, to start communicating freely in a way they can't supervise or censor? Nobody on YouTube or BitChute has discussed what I'm about to. If you value this content and want to keep me producing it, please support it on Subscribestar or via cryptocurrency. I'm planning to upgrade my video production and make more videos in 2020, but I can only do that with your help. Please visit subscribestar.com/RealJamesAllsup right now to become a Premier Club member, or to make a one-time contribution. Thank you. I want to introduce you to an Israeli company called NSO Group. Their founders are Niv Karmi, Shaylee Julio, and Omri Levy. Hence the name, NSO. They're an Israeli spy tech company, and all three of the founders are former members of the Israeli Intelligence Corps, where they specialized in collecting signals intelligence, basically intercepting communications. NSO Group produces a product called Pegasus, and this is a product that the US government purchases. Of all the insidious things our government does with our money, this ranks near the top. Pegasus is malware designed for mobile devices, your iPhone or iPad running iOS, and your Android device too. Here are a few of Pegasus's handy features. It can intercept all phone communications and interfere with software. It grants the client access to the victim's iMessage, MMS, SMS, WhatsApp, and every messaging app on the device, including apps that use encryption. Naturally, it runs a keylogger and intercepts passwords. It can run remotely, turn on microphones, cameras, and GPS, recording and transmitting that data. It bypasses service providers. Mobile network operators don't know when the software is installed. And by attacking the device, not a SIM card, it makes it irrelevant if the target switches SIM cards. In other words, this piece of malware gives the client total surveillance capability over your device. It is basically as good as them holding the device in their hands and flipping through your files and chat logs. How do you get infected? Well, Pegasus is designed to infect targets through app vulnerabilities, not operating system vulnerabilities. That means if an app developer is caught lacking and NSO Group devises a way to hack their way in, they can install their malware, and it's up to the developer to detect that breach. This is exactly what happened recently in Western Europe, where a Western European government was using Pegasus to track and surveil a subject in their country. NSO Group had infected his phone, and approximately 1,400 others worldwide, by exploiting a WhatsApp security vulnerability. In late October, WhatsApp identified the breach and alerted the approximately 1,400 affected users, but not before Pegasus had been running on their phones for weeks. NSO Group has been sued in Israel multiple times. However, every case brought against them has been dismissed, almost as if they're being given preferential treatment in service of Israel's greater good. WhatsApp sued NSO Group in a U.S. court for hacking their software and installing malware on their users' phones without permission. The hacking victims included Americans based in the United States. In India, where the government was also busted spying on its own people without warrants, this caused media outrage. Government ministers demanded WhatsApp explain itself and tell Indians how, going forward, it would safeguard the privacy of millions of Indian citizens. But in the US, unless you're reading tech blogs or poring over federal court filings, this went nowhere. NSO Group, like most Israeli spy tech firms, works closely with the Israeli Defense Ministry. In fact, NSO Group seeks approval from the Israeli Defense Ministry anytime they want to sell their software. If the U.S. government had used Russian-made software, sold with the approval of the Russian Defense Ministry, to spy on Americans without warrants, you would have a laundry list of new impeachment articles. insert Mexico in for Russia, and Breitbart would be turning this into the story of the century, yet because it's Israeli tech, an Israeli company, and a working relationship with the Israeli Defense Ministry, we're seeing nothing. This is far from the only collaboration between U.S. intelligence and Israeli spy tech firms. In 2016, to unlock the San Bernardino shooter's iPhones, the FBI turned to Cellebrite. Cellebrite is another Israeli firm. They claim their software can perform a full file system extraction on any iOS device, obtaining passcodes, passwords, and circumventing encryption if the phone is in the hacker's physical possession. And, in what I'm sure is reassuring news, they claim to only sell their tech to governments, which makes it pretty awkward when Forbes finds their hacking tech on sale on eBay for $100. The easy answer to solve terrorism is not to let potential terrorists into the country with open arms and open gates. Yet, that is exactly what we've done. And then, to remedy the situation, we're told that to prevent terrorism, the only answer is to allow for the invasion of Americans' privacy wholesale at the hands of private Israeli tech companies. I'm concerned about this. In the last year, anyone demanding closed borders is no longer simply racist. They are now a stochastic terrorist. If you publicly say it's time to end immigration, or that it's okay to be white, the elites see you as guilty of terrorism and will use their media and state power to brand you as such. And once that label is cracked open, it's not being put away. Being labeled a terrorist simply for your beliefs makes you subject to the type of warrantless surveillance the U.S. government pays NSO Group to engage in. It's important to remember. We know who makes this software. We know where it's coming from. But Pegasus is only being used to spy on Americans with the express direction of the U.S. government. Bottom line, this government is paying Israeli agents to watch Americans, to read your encrypted messages, and to monitor your cell phone camera and microphone and GPS. This is the first in what will be a series of videos discussing Israeli spy tech and how it has worked its way into every type of American technology, from civilian Internet of Things devices like smart locks and fridges and doorbells, all the way up to CIA, military, and defense industry security. For more on Pegasus, NSO Group, Cellebrite, and other Israeli spy tech companies, listen to the full second hour of FTN 281, where Jazz and I talk about this in even greater length. I hope you'll stay tuned here on BitChute and on FTN for more.